we got a ton to cover. I mean, an absolute ton to cover. Since focusing the attention of this program, I don't know, the last couple of months or so on Charlie Kirk in the wake of his tragic passing at the age of 31, I've speculated aloud about something I firmly and deeply believe in my soul. Something happened in July of this year, July of 2025, that led to Charlie Kirk being cut down at the age of 31. Something happened in July. Does that mean nothing happened before July? No. But something specific happened in July. Others have speculated aloud about it as well. I'm not unique in this. I came across something tonight, and I want to share what I think is the 1 minute and 43 seconds in Charlie Kirk's public life that might have led to his ultimate demise. Let me repeat that because it's a lot to say. It's a big claim, and big claims require big evidence. But I want to share what I think is the 1 minute and 43 seconds in Charlie Kirk's public life that led to his demise. But first, I want to kind of foreshadow some other things I want to talk about tonight. In addition to that, I want to dig deeper into the news that Candace Owens broke Friday. And I think John Cullen had broken it as well on Twitter, but I think they were focusing on two different planes, or I don't remember who got credit for what first, and I don't want to be accused of leaving somebody out. Egyptian planes had a bad habit of showing up where Charlie Kirk showed up. Egyptian planes had a bad habit of showing up where Charlie Kirk showed up. Now, is there anything to that? Well, we'll dig around a bit on Google Trends, and I think we'll find something that gives us an idea one way or the other that our pyramid friends might have been involved in some capacity to what happened to Charlie Kirk. At least we'll raise the question. It'll be worth looking into when you see what I see. Now, I also want to take us to California. I want to look around at what appears to me to be some sort of a Ukrainian compound. A Ukrainian compound in California. I want to know why it's there. I want to know if something weird is happening there. And is it related in any way to Charlie Kirk's demise? Now, I will tell you now, I just caught up with a First Amendment lawyer in the last 20 minutes. I've been trying to reach him. Sundays are not the best days to catch up with your lawyers. And I've been advised to be very cautious with how I cover this. And I will be very cautious. Now, that's going to mean some of the screen sharing I intended to do, some of the names I was going to name, some of the addresses I was going to give, I may not be able to share, but I think I can describe it in a way where you'll understand what I'm saying. You'll have to pay attention. I'll flag it. I'll pull some red flags out, and I'll let you know what I'm saying. I'll wink. You'll know. But I got to be cautious. I got to be cautious. This thing, I don't want the winds taken out of the sail of this thing. Finally. Not finally. Also, we finally got some information we've been waiting on, at least part of it. The question was raised. I raised it. Lots of people raised it. When did TPUSA, when did Turning Point request to use the UVU courtyard for the September 10th event? We're going to answer that. And we're going to ask what information hasn't yet been disclosed, because some of the information has not yet been disclosed. But we will be able to answer, I believe, when did TPUSA request to use the courtyard? Finally, I want to raise a question about the propriety of the way the FBI is approaching this case. For example, is the prosecution briefing Erica Kirk on the case against Tyler Robinson? I don't even know that she'd be considered a witness. Think about it. She wasn't there. She wasn't there. We're told she was at her mom's hospital room. That's fine. You don't have to be everywhere your husband is. It wouldn't be unusual for someone to be somewhere else. But she seems to indicate, and I'll play a small clip tonight where she kind of says it herself. She seems to say, yes, they're briefing me on the case. I'm aware of the prosecution's evidence. But are they really doing that? And if so, is it right? But first, in pursuit of finding out what it was that happened, what was the turning point, so to speak, that took place in July, like you, I've consumed a tremendous amount of content. I mean, a tremendous amount of content. I've watched debates. I've watched speeches. I've read articles. I've listened to podcasts. I've gone down every rabbit hole imaginable. Now, that's not true. You guys have emailed me lots of rabbit holes I have not entertained. But I've gone down a lot. Side note, if you're going to send me a video and you want me to watch it and you don't timestamp it, I'm not watching it. Like if you send me a 42-minute video and like, hey, check out the point where he says this very key thing, I'm not watching a 42-minute video. I have 400 people sending me emails with videos. If you give me a timestamp, I might scroll to that timestamp and watch it. That's just a side note. But I quite literally have stumbled into what I think could be the answer to what was the turning point. What was the turning point in Charlie Kirk's life that led to his ultimate demise on September 10th? Now, in trying to track down movement patterns, I was trying to track down movement patterns of key turning point employees in the days, weeks, and I guess now months after Charlie's passing, as well as the days and weeks leading up to Charlie's passing. And there's a lot of movement. People fly on a lot of private planes. I stumbled across a couple of very curious entries in a public record database, and that led me down a weird path that I'm not going to betray Charlie's desire to keep certain facts in his life private. But there are a couple of very private facts in Charlie's life he fiercely guarded, as he should have. But I ended up down a weird path, and I ended up neck deep in the answer to those private facts, and I thought, oh. And however it happened, that search led me to a months-old video, a video from back in, well, I didn't know at the time when it was. I just watched it. I don't know why I watched it. It seemed relevant. It felt relevant. Even before I clicked play, it felt relevant. You ever get those feelings? Have you ever just, like you walk into somewhere random and you feel like you're somehow connected to history and you don't know why you feel that way? That's the feeling I had. I saw this video pop up and I got this like cold feeling over my body. And I don't mean to say like I have ghosts in my room and saying, watch the video. That's not what I'm saying. I didn't even know at the time what date it was recorded. I didn't know why it felt relevant. But as soon as I started watching it, the reason for the feeling became pretty clear, at least by the end of the video. And it's just a 5-minute video. I'm only going to play less than 2 minutes of it tonight. And after watching it, and I watched it twice in a row before I said a word, I went back and looked at the date it was recorded. It was recorded July 17th of 2025. July 17th of 2025. And it dawned on me. That's why it felt relevant. Because the day after this recording aired on his podcast, and I guess on his radio show as well, that was the date TPUSA requested to use the courtyard at Utah Valley University. That would turn out to be Charlie Kirk's final public appearance. So he does this recording, the minute 43 I'm going to play you. I think that's the crucial minute 43. But he does this recording. He plays it for his podcast and his radio show. And the following day, TPUSA requests to use the courtyard at Utah Valley University. And I believe what he says in the video I'm about to play, I believe it's evidence. I believe it's evidence that what he is expressing in this video directly leads in the end to his death. And here's what the video is. In the video, Charlie Kirk is giving a very short tribute to a man I didn't know he revered, but it turns out he revered this guy. I mean, revered this guy. His name's Pastor John MacArthur. I don't know if you've ever heard of John MacArthur. John MacArthur, he was a Calvinist Baptist pastor of I can't remember the name of the church, Grace something, some non-denominational church north of Los Angeles. And they never met in person. Kirk says in this video, as a matter of fact, as he's basically eulogizing him on his podcast. They never met in person, but he did lionize MacArthur. And he repeatedly praised him. And he was doing segments focused on MacArthur's messages over the year. And the reason he was talking about it on July 17th of this year is John MacArthur passed away on July 14th of this year. That was a Sunday. And here's where the timeline sort of tightens up a little bit. July 14th, John MacArthur passes. Charlie Kirk hosted a debate between Dave Smith and Josh Hammer. Wait, not really a debate. More of an unrelenting beatdown by Dave Smith on Josh Hammer. But whatever you want to call it. It took place the day before MacArthur died. 2 days before the Smith beatdown of Josh Hammer, Tucker Carlson took the stage at the same Turning Point event. And these were not Charlie Kirk's most popular moment among his donors. News reports, the reports from the participants themselves, namely Dave Smith and Tucker Carlson, they talk about just how unpopular Kirk's decision to host them was and how hostile Kirk's mood was in that moment to those who made him famous. And that's a choice of words I used right there. And I got a lot of pushback after, I think it was last week's show or last Wednesday's show. I got a lot of pushback when I called Charlie Kirk a product, but I mean it. The donors made him famous. Tucker Carlson did not make Charlie Kirk famous. Dave Smith did not make Charlie Kirk famous. Kirk's donors made him famous. And we talked in that episode, I do believe it was Wednesday, about how these organizations come to be. Organizations like Turning Point. But really any organization that relies on tens of millions or hundreds of millions of dollars to exist, those organizations don't make products. They don't sell widgets. They exist for one purpose and one purpose only, whether it's Heritage Foundation or Human Rights Campaign or Turning Point USA or NRA or what's the AARP. They exist for one reason and one reason only. They want to brainwash you. No, that might be a harsh word. But they exist solely to convince people to adopt their political positions. Not the organization's political positions, but the political positions of the billionaire donors who support the organization. I'll back up and I'll step you through that one more time because it's relevant to this video. It's relevant to why Charlie Kirk's no longer among the living. If I have $1 billion, and let's say I'm fascinated by, what's a niche political position? I want to go back to the gold standard. I'm tired of this fiat currency. I want some hard metal backing up our currency, our cash. It's a weird position, sure. Most people don't really have an opinion on it one way or the other. Their life's pretty good right now. They might have some concerns of what would happen. But I'm a multi-billionaire. I got $100 billion. I got $10 billion, $20 billion, whatever. I might find a young, attractive, very smart whippersnapper. We'll call him Marley Turk. And I might hire Marley Turk to come in and head up an organization where they exist to go around talking to people about the gold standard. And at first it sounds a little, whatever. So I might jazz it up a little bit. Hey, bring in something that'll bring the masses in. Maybe you talk about rock and roll. Maybe you're funny. Maybe, I don't know what it is, but bring them in. And while they're there, make sure you're brainwashing them on the gold standard. I don't care what else you really talk about. Just don't abandon that position. That's why I'm paying you the big bucks. Oh, I don't want to be the only one supporting it. So I go around to my billionaire friends who also have a thing for the gold standard. And I go convince them to donate to this organization. Hey, I got a good organization. I got this head guy, Marley Kirk. You got to meet him. He's fantastic. I bring him in. You meet him. You fall in love with him. He's sharp. He's quick. You see videos of him debating college students about the gold standard. He's debating economists about the gold standard. And you think, hey, I want to give some money to this guy. He's pushing my message about the gold standard. It could be any political position. It could be gay and lesbian issues. It could be freedom of tobacco, freedom of firearms. It could be, it could be absolutely anything. You pick your niche political position, but this is how it works. Free market economics, libertarian economics, it doesn't matter. Von Mises Institute, all of them. Every organization you've ever been persuaded by. This is how they all work. They exist to convince masses of people to adopt the political positions of the billionaire donors. And he was really, really, really good at it. He was really good at it. He was very effective at convincing millions and millions of people to accept and adopt the political positions of his billionaire donors. I'm not saying for a second he didn't also believe them. Don't get me wrong. But I'm saying they didn't care. They don't care whether he believes them. They care whether you believe them. And whether he can get you to believe them. And to the extent he was willing to keep doing that, advancing the position of his donors, he remained useful. And to the extent that he remained useful, his billionaire donors were very happy to keep paying him to do it. And they paid him very well. But the moment he was no longer useful, The moment he no longer wanted to advance their interests. Let's talk about my friend Charlie Kirk, the gold standard guy that I've paid $150 million to go all over college campuses and debate economists and college students and try to convince people to help us adopt a gold standard. The moment he says, fiat currency might not be that bad. Wait a minute. What have I paid you for, pal? What do you mean fiat currency might not be that bad? I might call an emergency meeting in the Hamptons. I might call an emergency meeting. I might send some pressure. I might have some bank chairman who believes in my position give him the hard sell. The moment he no longer wants to advance the interest of the billionaire donor, well, you saw what happened. You saw what happened. You likely watched it on video over and over and over. And you got the message.